Hello, and welcome to another episode of Played with Meg and Mike. We just got out of our top 8 tribal council, where the player voted out of the game amazingly and surprisingly, and about time, was Kyle. So Kyle, can you explain to the viewers what happened today and why you think that happened?
Well, first of all, the question in the chat right now is who played the NSYNC music, and the suspicion is that Meg did it. But,
it was me.
No, it was me. It was me. So I just had to let them know.
It was both of you then.
Oh, we both did it. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Even better.
Yeah.
It was hectic.
So interesting. I think. I mean, we can probably dissect quite a bit here. I think one thing that has probably been happening recently for me is I've been getting more paranoid the day of the vote and especially the last couple hours before. So I think one big misconception is that I'm pushing a narrative, or I'm pushing a vote, whereas I haven't been doing that. And there was one vote in particular, I think it was 2 votes ago, where I felt like I knew something was going to happen, but I didn't push that hard. And the thing that happened is exactly what I thought was going to happen. We could have gotten around it. Today, I felt like I knew Jordan had the idol, and I mean, it's not hard to deduce that. But
the process of elimination.
Yeah, process of elimination. You're not sure if he's actually going to play it for someone else, and you kind of, I think, with Chris popping Chelsea, one of the things we were thinking about was he's too selfish to play it for someone else. And I think most people, when they have the idol, you're too selfish. You're using it for yourself. So I said to Brian, I think probably around 6:45, we were thinking about changing our votes, and we'd actually decided to do it. And then at the last minute, I said, no, let's not bother. Right, we just go with the flow. And then if it happens, it happens. Good on him. So. I mean, was that what you mean? Just to change to somebody else to throw it off in case somebody used an idol for James? Yeah, we were going to change it. We were going to change it to John at the last minute, so that the idol would then be wasted. But I overthink everything. So at a certain point, you just got to stop overthinking things, and it's just a game. So great move. I already texted Jordan. It was just fantastic. Well done.
So. Kyle, I'm kind of disappointed.
Okay. What is that?
I just thought that you were going to take it all the way to the very end.
Yeah, I at the beginning when I first joined, Mike and I talked, and I was I'm probably out pretty quickly. But I guess 13 years is a lot of time, so people kind of forget things. You get to a certain point of the game, you're okay, can probably take this a little further, and then a merge happens and you start to see a path. But I think that there's a lot of challenges and stuff that I botched in the last probably 2-3 weeks, opportunities that I had to win. And you can only miss those opportunities so many times before it bites you, right? So
right.
Yeah, it happens.
So who is the real puppet master if not you?
I don't think there is one. I think that's a fun narrative that people have. And I think I'm genuinely entertained by, I think I said it in one of the councils where it's I love how much you guys talk about me, because I'm literally, I probably survived. I said this to Mike. If I was another player, I have my ass out of here a long time ago. And you hear what people say about rewards and all that other stuff, and I don't have jack squat, but if they want to think that, then I'm gonna play into it a little bit, right? So you can only kind of play the hand that you've been dealt. So,
well, up to this point, including the last game, you basically outsurvived over 60 other players.
Yeah.
In Survivor Hamilton, so I think that's the reason why we're talking about you, because you're a goat.
Yeah, well, I mean,
in a good way.
Let's not pump too many tires.
Well, you're out now. It's okay.
Yeah, I think and we've talked about this, Mike. A large part of this game is luck, and when something comes back to you through someone else, you're okay, I can work with that idea, knowing full well that it's not true. So I think I think there's a few things I'll put down. My thoughts will probably be really disorganized, but I think that there's different types of lies you tell in this game, and like the first lie you tell is that you don't lie, right? So like that's the very first lie, and everyone has a different definition of what a lie is. But then there's the lies like person to person, but then there's also the lies like on whatever the story is, right? So like I think one of the things I do try to do is focus on the story first. So if there's a story out there that I can strategically use to my advantage, yeah, I'll play into that 100%. And I think that that's probably been a large part of why I've managed to kind of stave off a few votes. I think, Mike, you were saying like I had 10 votes against me before tonight. And I that kind of shocked me. I just expected it would be a much higher number. But, you know, like it just speaks to, I guess, the story and people's paranoia, right? So.
You mentioned the narrative or the idea that you were pushing, and I think that probably comes from the fact that when after the tribe swap on Kobara, you basically were, along with Chelsea and Sharon, kind of in charge of what happened over the course of those votes.
Yeah.
Do you think that you can? Do you think that that's just going to live with you? Like, can you change and like is that can you change that perception once you've already said it?
No, I don't think so. And I think you know I think the game that I won, obviously a very different game, but I worked with one person, and there was luck in that game, but there was also, you know, like an idea or a personality that was formed that that allowed me to survive. And I think you come into the game with the same thing. And I didn't change my strategy this game at all. And I told you that like the second I joined, like Chelsea as a partner was an enormous risk because I didn't know her. I've never met her. It's the exact same thing I did the first time around, and I arbitrarily just chose her off of a joke that she made in the first few minutes of our group chat. And I was like, okay, I can relate to that. So we'll throw it out there, and if she screws me in 2 weeks, then whatever, it's all good. But you know, like that's how I play the game. Like I keep, like I said this in previous trials, the circle is tight and the trust level is tight. And I think I got into trouble a little bit when I started to expand it like more. So I got into trouble with the Graham vote because my first allegiance was Chelsea, and my second allegiance was Sharon, and then my third allegiance was Jord, and I had no allegiance to Graham. So there's no one I can vote at that point except for Graham. And like Graham will tell you, like I've apologized to him a million times. Like I felt so bad about that. But you know, and I know Jor was mad, and he got his vengeance tonight, and good on him. Good on him.
That's a nice little rivalry line through the game. Did you not like work with your brother because of the Hamilton curse, or did you just not want to work with your brother?
No, you know, Chris, we're very different in a lot of ways, but we are similar in some ways, and so there's definitely like a hard-headedness and like a willingness, like a desire to be the. Like, I don't necessarily think I have a desire to be in charge, but like he was very much like, you know, trust me, do this. I got this. I have this alliance. I have this alliance. In the back of my head, I'm like, well, I have people you don't even know about, right? So, like, it's just. I think it just two things, Meg. I guess number one is it's too obvious, and the second one is there's just too many layers. I think to kind of sift through, because one thing that Chelsea and I always talked about was how harshly other people talked about her, and I had to play into that a little bit, like encourage it sometimes with Chris. So like I couldn't.
What kind of harsh talk are we talking?
Well, I'm not gonna out Chris. Just that general, like, it's funny. It's kind of ironic that the Ruth thing happened the way it did, because like I'm very much like not like the type of person to like gang up on someone because they're a woman at all. But like it's that typical, and you know, like I've had conversations like this with Chelsea and with Sharon and a couple other people. It's just that typical male attitude sometimes is just like you're dismissive, right? And it's maybe not always intended as harsh, but it comes off as harsh because of the historical context. So I think that there's dismissiveness about her. I heard, and I don't want to just put Chris on blast here, because it's not just Chris. It's more than one guy who just say, "Oh yeah, she talks a lot, so she's not smart. She's not she's socially inept, or she sings like a bird, or she can't keep a secret or whatever." Meanwhile, Chris is the worst person.
Other players are doing the exact same thing.
So yeah. It's all perception, I guess. And when you have a majority of men in the game and a minority of women, those things happen, I guess. And it's not acceptable, but it does happen. So.
No, men, take a look at yourselves.
Yeah.
Agreed. Do you feel that you could have done a better job of managing, maybe not managing Chris, but managing your kind of mutual roles in the game? Because obviously he was essential in voting Chelsea out, which was maybe the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you could have done a better job of maybe not working together, but not working against each other?
I think there was always a bit of that tension there, where it was just yeah, we're not going to work together, but we kind of won't vote for each other. And I think tonight's the first time Chris actually did vote for me, and I was fine with that, because I felt like it was a 50-50 chance tonight that I was going to get hooped, right? So
let me ask you something.
Yeah.
If you and Chris get in a physical fight, who's going to win?
Meg, me and Chris have not had a physical fight since probably high school.
That's good. Violence is stupid.
Well, yeah. Well, he's 6'4", 250. I'm like 6'1". I used to kick his ass.
But you're wily.
What's that?
You're wily.
I'm wily, yeah. A couple groin shots or something, and we're okay. But no, Chris is a big dude, and he's a football player, and I'm a baseball player, and we all know that baseball players aren't athletes. So
don't be so hard on yourself.
No, just give credit where it's due. I don't need to worry about it too much. I mean,
that's good. Who do you want to win then?
I knew this question was going to come up, and I don't know. I'll try and give you an answer. I think that if I go through,
you're gonna have to vote for one of these people.
Yeah, for sure. In some ways, this is a relief. Like I was saying on Tribal, and that's kind of when I was resigned to the fact I'm pretty sure something's gonna happen. I have relationships probably with each person left in this game to some degree. I think that Chris has played a pretty. Like I said in the last trial, I underestimated him. He's played a pretty good game, and he's done some pretty out of left field things, which I can appreciate. Jordan put his big boy pants on tonight, and I think that deserves it. Not that he didn't have him on before, but it was a good, a good solid play that I can appreciate, and so I think he deserves some credit for that. Brian's interesting because, okay, so I'll give you a little background. So Chelsea and I made our arrangement pretty early on in the game, but I didn't know if I could trust Chelsea. So I also talked to a couple other people. Brian was one of them, and Paul was one of them. Paul got upset when
he's very sensitive.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not gonna bag on anyone, but Paul got really upset when the Chelsea thing came out, and he sent me a couple messages, and he was like, I'm disappointed and all this stuff, and whatever, man. But Brian was another guy, and he never even flinched about it. He actually felt bad about some of the things that he said about Chelsea. So, I mean, Brian's a stand-up guy, and I think, I'd like to see him win for sure. And, I mean, I don't know. I can't pick everybody, right? So,
a very diplomatic non-answer.
Yeah.
So, who do you want to see voted out next, then?
Who do I want to see voted out next? John Tenyuk. This is nothing personal, my man, but I think part of the issue today with this vote was John approached us, and I'll say this: John definitely lived out the whole James says, "Oh, we try to work with people." I've never heard from James once, so he's full of it. But John legitimately reached out, and I know it wasn't as fully confidential as he let on, but he popped Sharon, and he went back on that, which bothered me. And he wasn't fully committal. to the stuff that we talked about today, like things that we talked about made their way back to Chris. So like, you know, I love you, buddy, but if I had to pick someone, if I'd stayed in the game, you would have been gone next, period. So
good naming names on that.
Why do you think Jordan made this move now, and how do you think that played out?
Yeah, let me try and put myself in Jordan's shoes. I mean, I don't want to automatically assume that like it was a payback thing, which it might have been. But look, you know, you have 8 people left. There's different levels of threats. There's the perception that I had some stuff at my disposal. Jordan obviously knew that I didn't have the idol. You know, like I think he knew. You know, I've been working with April pretty closely, and I think he just knew the intricacies of those relationships, and it's a good strategic move. Period. Like if you don't, like, you got to take the shot when you have it, and I think that's where some of the people that have been voted out have made their mistakes. Like they should have taken the shot, and I don't feel like it would have been a difficult shot to take. I know, Mike, you kind of bag on us for like voting for the same people over and over, but like that's what the German thing was. It's like you want the guy out. If you miss the first time, you come back until you get it. And I think like that was probably a mistake that some people made. Is like even if I had stuff, you take the shot until there's nothing left.
Right. So do you think that Jordan just felt like, you know, with you in the game still, like that was going to be another year or another voice in April and Graham's ear that might, you know, to maybe vote him out instead of you guys?
Yeah, you know, probably. And like one of the things that like I had to do over the last couple of votes was like I did have to play both sides a little bit. So like I did mention Jordan's name to people. I wouldn't have voted for him, but it's just one of those things. Like I only had one promise left in the game, right? And I said to Jordan a few times, I was like, you don't have to honor your side of it, but I'll honor mine. So you can't fault people. It's just a game. You can't fault people for making the right move at the right time.
Do you think that puts him in a better position or a worse position moving forward? Even though it was maybe a good move to get rid of you, like how do you think that plays into his hand moving forward?
I think, well, I mean, it puts Brian in a dangerous spot now, right? Because like George, I feel like George's allegiance is definitely going to be to April and Graham. Chris is going to be loyal to his guys, so Brian's in the middle. That could be a 6-1 vote, right? Like they could get into their top 6, and then I mean I don't know what happens there. I don't know what happens when you get 2 groups of 3, but you know you're running out of chances. You got to take your chance while you have it. You worry about the rest later. Like I've said to you a bunch of times, I never plan past the next vote, and that is really true. You got to take a shot while you have it.
So you mentioned voting Graham out being a kind of a tough part of the game. Were there any other votes or any other parts of the game that you feel like were tougher than others?
No. I didn't care about anyone else that got voted out really by me. Like Silas, like the Silas one was funny because like at the beginning that was just an accident. Like that was not something I had planned, and I definitely didn't need. We can go through all the people if you want, man. If you
don't have to go through each one, but just I was asking for the highlights. Right.
So like Silas was, I wanted to work with Silas, but I just wasn't sure if I could trust him. And early in the game, I'm like, yeah, I've got one person and one person alone, and that's Chelsea, and that's it. So you kind of ride the wave at the beginning, and did I grease the wheels a bit on that? For sure I did. That's what I do. So it just, you know, you put it in someone else's hands and it goes. So yeah, I felt bad when he went out. Like that was the first vote that we had to do, and I was like gung ho about it. And then when you started reading votes, I was just like, man, I feel really, really bad now. But as the game goes along, you start to feel a little less bad. I think that outside of that, no, I didn't care about any of the other ones. I felt bad for Chelsea and Sharon. I think I said that in a video too, because they bore the brunt of people's wimpiness, I guess. So, and it's easy to target them. You know, you can read into that any way you want, but like it's easy to target them. So,
conversely, were there any votes that were the most fun for you?
Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm going to say here, Mike. You already know what I'm going to say. Cowan was a good one. Like Cowan, I've never met the guy. I've never met him in my entire life. But he does like, and Cowan, like, I like him this person. He just likes to play this like closeness card with me. And I'm like, I don't understand why you think we're close. We're not close. I don't know you. I've never met you. But there was a funny moment where like, he will always, say you lied to me and you lied to me. But like the thing is, like, I knew he was gunning for me for a while because Chelsea told me everything. And there was one time where Chelsea and I were sitting together, and I called Cowan and I had it on speakerphone. And Chelsea heard the entire conversation with me and Cowan. And then as soon as I hung up the phone, he called Chelsea, and Chelsea put it on speakerphone. And I listened to the entire conversation, where he's like, Kyle's so full of shit and like this and that, whatever. And I'm sitting right here, man. You don't even know. So I know Chelsea didn't maybe put that in her PowerPoint, but that was a funny moment for me. So when he went, yeah, it was gratifying. I knew he was going. The fist pump was like just a theatric thing. I knew he was gone. But that one was good. So
you did seem to enjoy voting Ruth out.
Look, I'm just trying to play into this persona that people have. Like, I'm trying to have fun. Nothing's ever personal. Nothing is ever personal. It's just a game. And I don't want to I'm not going to get into a he said, she said thing with that. I would just say that some of the stuff that was said is probably inaccurate, and the stuff that was accurate, I took ownership for. In terms of like who's calling who and who's texting who, like, I don't want to, that's not accurate, and I'm not going to really get into it. But I enjoy competition. I am cocky, 100%. I'm cocky, and I'll own that. And it's not personal. It's just me. So I tried to tone that down after that vote. So I think I commented on a post just saying, like,
yeah,
perception is really hard to change. So if you continue to feed into the perception, then like you're gonna have people who make inaccurate judgments about your character, and you're to blame for that because you're feeding into it. So
can you talk a little bit about how you went from working with Peter to get Cowan and Graham out to immediately going after Peter?
Okay. So one of the things at the beginning with Chelsea and I, she wanted Peter out. And so I've had this conversation with Peter, and she wasn't like gung ho about it, like from the get go. I need Peter German out of this game, but Pete said in his video that he believed that I kind of put Chelsea on him or something. It was definitely the other way around. I wanted Cowan out, and then she kind of called me on it. She's like, you don't want to vote for German, but you want me to turn on Cowan. I'm like, yeah, you're right. So that was kind of a commitment, or, some of the votes after she went, it was more like, you know what, I want to do this for the people that like got voted out because of me. And so that's the only agenda I had on some of those. Just like, fulfill my end of the bargain. Like, you've made sacrifices for me, I'll make sacrifices for you, even though you're out of the game. So it was nothing personal with Peter. That was like, as you know, Mike, like I had an idol already, and he offered me that one, and I was like, Cowan was gone regardless. He was gone regardless, and I was just like, okay, this makes it easier, and it puts me and Chelsea in a better position, and we can take Peter out. And I think we did have this perception of Peter that like he was playing a little harder than he was, and that's another reputation thing, right? Like, I can't shake my reputation, but in some ways he can't shake his. So
yeah. Do you have anything you would change or any regrets in the game specifically?
Yeah, I think I got into trouble with like making promises. I think that Chelsea and I spent a lot of time kind of crafting like stories or kind of like barriers that would prevent like our alliance from being exposed. So part of that was like Jordan approached me independently about the Cowan thing. I think George was sick of Cowan just going off the deep end. you know, like that again, you can't plan these things. Like I played into that with Jordan. I was like, okay, I'll work with you. And then you have a hard time managing layers. Like I made a promise with him, and I'm like, well, shoot, I don't know if I'm going to be able to honor this because my first priority is Chelsea. And then Jordan even said to me at one point, like, you know, we're gonna have to do this and this and this, and then we're gonna have to turn on Chelsea. And then I'm like, nah. In my head, I'm like, no, that's not gonna happen. But I got into trouble with some of those. The Graham thing was, again, out of the people left, he's the only guy that I didn't make a direct promise to. So my biggest regret with that vote would be messaging him directly and being like, I'm voting for this person when I knew full well I wasn't voting for that person. So I think that would be the biggest regret. Like I don't like the idea of lying directly to people. I'm fine with like the lies in the game, but like right to your face, like, and I felt bad about that. I felt really bad about that. And
right.
Yeah. So
I've never played. I don't have an issue with it. It's like, how do you get people to go on your side? How do you get people not to vote for you? If you know what I mean, you can't tell them the truth.
For sure.
You can't tell me you are voting for them.
For sure. And look, I'll say this, like, and I hope this is evident. Like, one of the things I hate about the play videos is how many of these people come on here and are just like, oh, I didn't do anything wrong. I played the game honestly and blah, blah, blah. You're so full of it. Like, I'll stand here until I lied 6 days from Sunday. Like, that's why I'm still in the game.
You're not in the game anymore.
Well, no, I'm not. That's a good point. I'm like back in time. Yeah, like take ownership for what you did. Like I'll take ownership for the stuff that I did and said, right? Like that's how I survived, and it's also why I'm here right now. So
earlier today or earlier in the week, did you see a path for yourself to get to the end?
Yeah, if I'll say this, if I hadn't been voted tonight, I would have been in the top 2 for sure, like 100%.
Can you talk a little bit about how that would have happened?
I don't want to talk about like how other people would like potentially vote. I don't want to affect other people. You know, I'll say this: like, there's a bunch of people who talk to me about being in the top 2 or whatever. I shouldn't get too cocky. I shouldn't say top 2. I should say top 3, because at the end of it, like, someone's got to choose. Someone's got to choose you to go to the final with them. And I think anyone who has half a brain would have chosen me to go to the final, because there's no way I would have beaten them. Yeah, like I had a path, and like, we can talk more about that offline, but like, just knowing where things are, knowing who has what and who's willing to use certain things to help you or help themselves, like that knowledge is key. Right.
Right.
So I think, I feel like I could have run the table a little bit, but you don't know that. It's not a paper game. So
since you've been running your own Survivor game as well with your colleagues, do you have any suggestions for our game based on kind of your learning from that game?
Well, I think I've shared with you. I think that one of the things that and the people I work with had a great time playing. They loved it. And that's a testament to you, Mike, because like I literally took stuff that you did and just copy pasted it. And I don't write like, I mean, I don't have the bandwidth to write like you do. But they loved everything about it.
Did they go crazy too and suspicious paranoia everywhere?
Oh my gosh. And yeah, listen, so the first your
principal had to quit.
Yeah, the principal quit. Osmo, if you're watching this, I'm not throwing you under the bus. I'm sorry. A lot of people that play the game, they do watch these, so they're going to be disappointed when they see my face on this video. But I was going to do similar play type of videos with them, but the first vote it was like 14-1, and it was just a really uncomfortable vote. And I'm like, I can't put this exit interview on the internet. And then the second one was also very uncomfortable. So like, I'm just going to throw that out the window. But like, I think what changed a lot for our game. And so, I mean, I don't know how much we can talk about this stuff now because Chelsea's out and now I'm out.
Yeah.
Chelsea helped me a lot with challenges. And My bandwidth wasn't super great, so she started writing challenges. They were super elaborate, and they had a lot more fun when the answer didn't have to be in 2 minutes. They really enjoyed working through stuff and having it take like a half an hour. I think the second or third last challenge, like the first person in was like 32 minutes or something, and they loved it. So I would just say, like, I think, and Mike, you've experimented with a few things. I think the speed thing, and I haven't been in the other games. I've only been in this one, but the speed thing, I think sometimes like screws people over, right? So making them actually work for it a little bit more. Yeah, have higher expectations of the people playing.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense. I think once I kind of set the expectation that they were going to be this type of question, like I don't want to go too far afield from that. Also knowing that like some people would be like, I don't have 30 minutes to do a question as well.
Oh,
and so I don't know, you're completely right. Yeah, so I agree.
Yeah.
I like the ones that Chelsea's done too. It's been hard. I used some for the tournament, and it was hard even to release control of that. I'll tell you.
Yeah. Well, I could tell instantly the first round. I was like, Chelsea wrote these.
Yeah. I figured, and you got your answer. It was wrong, but you got your answer in so fast. I was okay. Second round, I'm doing my own one, and then I'll go back in the finals to another one of Chelsea's. Not because he thought they were cheating, but just because I was like, you're familiar with it. I knew you're familiar with it a little bit, at least. I was like, I'm not going to give you 3 in a row.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny that this ends up being the downfall because I had the second one right, and I just like in my haste I just pulled the name from the wrong list, and those are the types of things that bite you, right? Like when you're trying to be fast, it happens. And if I'd gotten to the final, I would have won that. I would have won that question in 5 seconds. Like, yeah, I had that answer. So
yeah, you had a spreadsheet.
Yes, I did. Thank you, Chelsea.
That and it sounds really chintzy, but I wouldn't. If you had been in the finals, I wouldn't have used that one because I knew that you would have had Chelsea's spreadsheet
for sure.
And I assumed that Graham and Jordan had not taken the time to do that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like I'll give all the credit where it's due there. Like she was like insanely detailed, and like that's how I normally am with stuff, but I just wasn't with the game. Like I didn't really think about doing that stuff. That's why it bothered me so much when she got voted out. I was like, she's put so much work into this and she's done such a good job. And like, it was a very mutually beneficial partnership. Like we definitely worked well together, but I felt like, what she got is not what she deserved. And
justice for Chelsea.
Yeah. She deserved to win this game. She did. She deserved to win.
Yeah, I agree. I would have loved to see Chelsea win.
Yeah.
Me too. Okay. Well, anything you want to? How are you going to go into the jury? Just kind of let go in, kind of talking, or just kind of stay quiet until the end.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be too active. I'm trying to it's been a lot of like text messages and a lot of like WhatsApp, and like I'm I know teachers always get like crapped on for like summers off. I'm like super busy. So I don't think I'm going to be too active. I think I'll definitely follow the game. My vote's going to go to the person who I feel like played the best game. I don't care if you're honest. I don't care if you lie or backstab or any of those things. I don't. Like it's just a game. It's just a game, and you do what you got to do to get to the end. And the person who does that the best, that's who I'm voting for. And I hope that people who are on the jury like don't play this whole like petty like, oh, this person's in my alliance, or I don't like this person, or I don't like this person lied to me or whatever, like, and just like recognize that they played the game better than you and better than everyone else.
No bitter jury.
No. So, no.
Meg?
What's the best thing that you watched in quarantine?
Best thing I watched in quarantine. So I haven't really been watching anything because distance learning involves me like being in front of a screen like all day, and I teach littles, right? They're very small kids who I love dearly, but they are a pain in the butt like to deal with on distance ed. So it's a lot of time like on like video calls and like helping and troubleshooting and stuff like that. So like by the time I finish my day, you know, like we would have an hour of distance learning for kids, but it would take me 6 hours to deliver it. So like I couldn't turn the TV on. I've been reading more.
Good for you.
I'm very active in like social justice initiatives in my classroom, whether it's anti-Black racism, whether it's you know, like gender issues, whether it's things like I've done projects with like clean water and that kind of stuff before. You know, like kids have done some pretty amazing stuff. So right now, like I read Just Mercy a little while ago, and that kind of got me really fired up about you know, like mass incarceration, particularly with African Americans in the U.S. So I'm doing some work with Innocence Canada right now, trying to get some traction in our schools. I work in Peel, which is like a big you know, we have a problem with racism in our board. So trying to get some traction with Innocence Canada and bring some of that into the classroom so we can educate our kids, you know, on things that like situations that they might face or have to deal with, ways to position themselves to avoid that, and just, you know, really, you know, just a lot of education surrounding that. So I'm big into that right now. White Fragility, I was part of a book talk, co-led a book talk on that with staff. I'm reading a couple other books right now about wrongful convictions and mass incarceration in the States. That's pretty much where my head's at right now. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's keep all of our heads there until we get some justice reform.
Yeah. I think I've been like way less active on social media because like you realize again, like with privilege, like the stuff you post and like it's really self-glorifying, and no need to be posting that stuff when we're dealing with the issues we're dealing with, right? So
Amen.
Yeah.
Good answer.
All right. Well,
Thank you.
very good answer. Well,
Matt,
Kyle,
do you have a different perspective now, or is it?
What?
Do you have a different perspective on me now, or what?
I mean, I'm just here to talk shit. And so that's what I'm doing. And I found this light on the street this week, and I don't know about you guys, but it's giving me a headache. So
Yeah,
let's wrap it up.
I have a seizure, but
anyway, this
All
is
right.
fun.
Yeah,
it was.
Thanks
Good
to both of you guys. Thanks to both of you guys for like all the time you put in. Like Mike, obviously, this game is incredible. The time you put in, the effort, like it's so much appreciated, and even more appreciated like in times like this. And Meg, like I know you're not even playing, but like taking your time out to take part in these things, very much appreciated. Always enjoy watching the played videos, though I don't think I'll watch this one, but
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again, Kyle. I'll invite you to the jury chat in a little bit.
Yeah.
And once I do the post, and enjoy some well-deserved time off.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Good.
All right.
All right, man. Well, take care.
All right, take care.
Good luck. Great game. Way better than we thought you'd do. In terms of distance, anyway.
I kind of thought you'd do better, to be honest.
I thought the rest of the players would smarten up and vote you out like first. If it had been me, you already won the game.
I know Meg likes to play the shame on you card, so shame on you guys for not voting me out sooner.
Shame on all of you.
We'll leave it there. All right. Thanks, Kyle.
See you guys.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. Bye.